Hello everyone, my name is Jake Crampton. I'm the CEO of Medspeed, and I am delighted to be here as part of AHRMM's webcast series. Here to talk with you all really about the challenge of our times. And we know what this is. This is about transforming healthcare, not only so that our organizations can thrive, but that ultimately we can take care of the physical, emotional, and also the financial well-being of our country and all its inhabitants. No small task. So how do we do that? I think that there's really a growing understanding within our universe that this isn't about taking what we've done and tweaking it on the margins. It's about really engaging in a process of remaking our healthcare system. And what I want to talk with you all about today is how we as supply chain professionals can do that by looking at an area that historically really hasn't gotten a lot of attention, which is the area that over time has been called courier. And that itself is in some ways a product of its history. It's fragmented, often different pieces run by different hospitals with different organizations within the organization having responsibility for individual pieces, often looked at as a commodity, where it's something that sits below the radar and really its only value is can a few dollars be saved. And ultimately it's also about connecting individual components of the health system instead of a more holistic view. So really, again here, it's a question of, do we try to tweak this or do we try to transform? How do we do this? Number one, we look at this segment as something that can help drive systemness. That is, the coming together to use scale more effectively in the progressively larger organizations that so many of us are part of. It means looking at reducing risk and liability. With more and more things needing to move between more and more points of care, that brings with it the chance for things to go wrong, so doing this job exceedingly well is more important than ever. Clinical productivity. It's putting the right item in the right place at the right time so that the clinician can do their job better and more effectively. It's driving standardization. This is a broad mission within healthcare and certainly true within the segment of, as I like to call it, driving things around. When we do things one way, we do them better, and we make it easier for the system to use this asset. We want to be able to avoid expenditure and added investment. So by looking at this intentionally, we figure out how to get the most out of our dollars. We think when we do all these things, instead of this being something that was known as courier, it transforms into a different thing altogether, and what we at Medspeed call intra-company logistics. This is about ultimately transforming this space into an asset that can drive returns. It's about bringing consolidation and ultimately helping to be part of the transformational mission that we all need to be part of. So how can we make this a little more tangible? How can I try to take this abstract concept and talk about some of the benefits that can be accrued? When we think about systemness and driving more integration, getting more use out of scale of the system, we really think about three key areas where intra-company logistics can be a terrific enabler. Number one, sharing. Historically, healthcare hasn't been too great about figuring how to share things between facilities, sometimes even between floors of the same facility. So how are we able to take this asset of intra-company logistics and help share things we haven't shared before? Well, it's about putting in place a system to be able to move things through it where the users within that system have total transparency on how to do so and therefore are enabled in that task. What can this mean? It can mean the moving of scarce pharmaceuticals. We often see shortages in that area. It can involve the movement of perioperative equipment, allowing us to have fewer assets than we might have. It can allow us to move our inventory faster by sharing it. Real transformative opportunities. Number two, we can use intracompany logistics to disintermediate other transportation expense. We know that almost every good we buy has some transportation cost baked into it. An alternative idea to paying for that piece by piece is to build an intracompany logistics network that can in turn be used to move all those items at little or even no marginal cost. Number three, and perhaps most transformatively, is we can use intracompany logistics to centralize functions. If we have a backbone of transportation and logistics, we can use that to pull away from fragmented mail rooms or print centers, something quite non-clinical, to fragmented labs or pharmacies, something quite clinical, and pull those together into single operations. When we do that, some great things happen. We reduce costs, because often having one centralized function can be more efficient than many, and we enable standardization by putting things under one roof. So when we do these things, we take this historical area called courier, a cost center below the radar, and transform it to a strategic asset called intracompany logistics that ultimately can help us really evolve and transform our healthcare systems towards the broader mission of improving cost, quality, and outcomes. Ultimately, we think this is something that's an incredibly meaningful pursuit for all of us as supply chain professionals and part of the big picture of driving effective change in healthcare. So it's been a delight to talk to you about this today. Thank you very much for watching.